Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Slipstream F1 Championships here at Singapore for round number 11 of 15. And my name is Sam Dyer. With me is Anthony McCurry. And Anthony, Singapore is a big track, very technical. And right now, during practice, it was wet for the first half of practice. It's now dried up. We're starting to see drivers put down some of their fastest laps as practice is coming to an end.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers that are kind of new to this circuit have not really had ample time to really practice for the race because it's going to be dry for the race as far as we're concerned. And some of these drivers earlier in this practice session couldn't really get anything done as far as learning the track. It was raining. It was a downpour, to say the least. A lot of drivers slipping and sliding around, but it's gotten dry since. We've seen a lot of drivers put down some fast laps, including Javier, and right now with a 140.7. So we don't really know what these drivers can do yet, but in the last minute or 2 minutes of practice, we're going to see, because now they're really starting to put their laps down. But yeah, this track's huge. It's the street circuit, the second street circuit on the year, and it is long, a 23-turn epic that we're going to be through tonight. And I don't know about you, but it's going to be one of the most chaotic starts I think we're going to see this season.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. It's going to be close racing. And honestly, there's a chance that we could be seeing a lot of drivers taken out on this first lap, or just with a lot of wing damage, as Reiki going to be pulling it into the pits. And a driver that we're going to keep our eyes out during this practice is going to be Bronson Stafford. Going to be going on the mediums for a last stretch here, as he's been kind of slowly waking his way around this course. Just got into Sector 3, about to come around the corner and start his hot lap here with a minute left in practice. And then, like we've seen all season long, it's going to be a one-shot qualifying. Everyone's going to qualify at the same exact time, as drivers are retiring after some good lap times. As Hazardous is going to be retiring from the session. We've also had Caleb Smith and JCW DQing as well, as that was, I believe, Dyer, otherwise known as the balded one in our telemetry right now. He is just wrecked out of the session in Sector 1, but we stay on board with Bronson Stafford, our points leader. He's won every single race here, Anthony, and really looks poised to win the rest of them here as we're coming to the end of this season.
Yeah, it's only going to be 5 races to go, including this one. The championship for the drivers, as far as that goes, is pretty much locked up by Bronson Stafford. All he's got to do is make a start the next couple of races and get finished within the points, and he's pretty much locked up the championship. Now, the Constructors' Championship, on the other hand, that's very much wide open, as it is going to be AlphaTauri versus Ferrari for that honor. And going into the next 5 races, you got this one, then you got Tokyo, or not Tokyo, but Suzuka, and then you have the USA, Abu Dhabi, and Sao Paulo. So it's going to be a mixed bag of different track types and different track lengths. And I don't know, as far as the way it's gone, though, Bronson Stafford proving dominant, did not get a very good Sector 1 time through here. He's on the mediums, but he did purple Sector 2 on the mediums, so track's still getting drier as practice has officially come to an end. We're going to see what he gets when he crosses the line, but I would imagine he's going to top the board here.
As comes across the line, does top the board with a 139.7. A second faster than what Javier put down. Other drivers are still out on track. We've got JD as well as Duncan McCamick, and I'm interested to see what McCamick has in this Red Bull machine. Earlier in practice, understood that the track was drying up, and we'll see now, with the track being completely dried up, we'll see what this Red Bull machine has.
Yeah, the Red Bulls have gone very fast. They've gotten much faster over the season. We're going to see what he does across the line. Well, I guess we're not going to find out until the end of the session, but looks like he got second place. Wow. All right.
Damn it, that is blistering for a driver that's trying to hunt down Bronson Stafford. Still, I mean, within a second. And, you know, in other leagues, that might look massive. But in this one, the way that Bronson Stafford's been dominating, that's a very close run, being within a second.
Yeah, we've got a lot of drivers that are all within about 2 seconds of each other. Look at the top 5, but all the way back to the top 6 even. You see a lot of drivers right with each other as far as pace goes. So whatever we were concerned about with the the track times that were going to be happening during the race. It might have cleared up a little bit. It's going to be cloudy for the race. We have gotten some word that it's going to be pretty overcast, but being that this is a night race, it's not going to affect the way the track handles too much, as it's going to be cool by default. But downtown Singapore, the lights, the night, it's going to be one of the prettiest races we're going to have this season as well, because whenever we come to this track, just the way that the environment is awesome. And as we're getting ready for qualifying, Sam, what are you thinking? Are we going to see another Bronson Stafford pole, or does someone have something for the Stafford car?
I mean, this season we've raced 10 racetracks. Bronson has 5 of those poles. 2 of them actually goes to the JD. One goes to 2 goes to Dyer, and then 1 goes to Trenton Jump. So there's still competition for whoever has the fastest during qualifying. Race pace, we know the AlphaTauris are the ones to watch out for, as well as for for the Ferraris. With having both the Ferraris back this week, I mean, that is massive to have JD back, who's missed out on a couple of weeks, but here during qualifying, I've got my eyes out on Bronson Stafford as well as the Balded One. Both those drivers look extremely quick as qualifying is underway. Like we said, it's a one-shot qualifying. 1 lap. Everyone is on the track at the same time. It's time to see who is going to be the fastest here.
Right now it's Hardison, which is a bit surprising, but not too surprising, as he's shown some pace in the latter half of the season, getting some really good finishes at the end of our European stretch. So right now leading the way, Matt Dyer still behind him. Now in front of him goes Matt Dyer, Breaky, Javier, and JCW are your top 5. Something that surprised me is we don't see anywhere right now Bronson Stafford. He's mired back in 10th place. Not sure why that is. He's moving up to 9th, but it's a battle between Hardison and Dyer at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking right now at the tires. There are 4 drivers that went to the mediums. That's going to be Breaky, Bronson Stafford, Trenton Jump, as well as Frozen and Nerda. Those are the 4 drivers that are using the medium compounds. Everyone else rocking the softs, and that's why we're seeing Dyer absolutely crushing this lap time, as Spencer Hardison's going to be out of this thing. They'll be dropping back, so it's looking wild to see where drivers going to be setting up right now. It's going to be the Renault up top of the board.
Renault right now on the top, but you've got a very hungry McLaren team going fast. Oh, Tanner Johnson just retired, so something happened for that Haas machine. But now Breaky puts himself on the front row. Never mind, here comes Stafford putting himself on the front row. He's now gotten 2nd place right now, but he's got to get up to Dyer. Dyer's still on top of the board. Coming down to the end of the lap, what can we see from the Renault? What can we see from the AlphaTauri? Who's going to get the pole? It's going to be Stafford at the last possible minute. Look at the time, so close at the front of the field, but it's going to be a front row lockout for Bronson Stafford, and it's going to be for the McLaren of Hardison. I'm sorry, not Hardison, he didn't get that, but it's going to be Dyer in the Renault getting a front row start.
Yeah, I mean, the Balded One right there. We were on screen with him because he's on the top of the board for the most part until the final time across the line. And we saw, I mean, that 3rd sector, he was just getting onto the gas a little bit too soon and just spinning his tires around, getting a little loose off the exit of these corners. And that's what cost this Renault team the pole, as he wasted a lot of time trying to get back up to speed. But it's going to be interesting with the different compounds. These drivers are going to be rocking the mediums for Bronson Stafford and Breaky, and those are the only 2 in the top 10 with the mediums. Everyone else rocking with the softs. So question is, can the different strategy help out the AlphaTauri and the Ferrari?
We've seen that this alternate strategies happened a lot throughout the season. You think back to even last week at Monza, it was the same way. It was Bronson Stafford that was going to be on the mediums for the majority of the first half of the race. And then that race had a lot of safety cars that happened. And in fact, it had 2 safety cars throughout the race. So we had a lot of strategy being thrown out. One was very early, and that caused a lot of the drivers that were on softs to kind of extend their time on the soft compound. And then we had the late race safety car, which everyone was able to go on to softs at that point. We saw that Stafford was able to utilize the mediums to his advantages. He does seem to have a lot of pace on the mediums as compared to the softs. However, if we get a safety car in this race and drivers that started on the medium are able to go on to the softs relatively early than what they wanted to do. Or do you think they're going to do that, or do you think they're going to stick to their strategy and try to go out the rest of the race? It's a long race, 31 laps with an average lap time for these drivers about 139 at the fastest and about 144 at the slowest. So it's going to be one of the longest races as far as time goes, not any longer than a regular Grand Prix. But given how long it takes to get around this track, as you're really off the throttle a lot around here, it's going to be a lot of tire management, as this isn't a really well-paved surface, I should say. It's still very much a street circuit in that sense, so tires are going to be a premium.
Yeah, we just had the graphics of what the tires are going to look like. The drivers on the mediums most likely are going to try for a one-stop here, going for the mediums to the hard. The drivers on the softs, they might be looking for a two-stopper here, trying to push it out from a soft to a medium. As you see the graphic popping up, they could be going for possibly a three-stop with a soft, medium, but most likely we're going to be seeing a two-stopper for the drivers on the softs. And this is going to be interesting now. I mean, Anthony, these drivers that are going to be on the harder compounds later on in this run with a one-stopper, this is going to make things a little bit difficult for them, as, I mean, those harder compounds, it takes a while for them to finally get into their groove.
Yeah, and especially at this track, it might get a little longer because of how many turns we have. A 23-turn circuit here tonight. It's going to be wide in some areas, tight in others. In fact, we're going through a really tight section right now. We saw a long time ago a Ferrari make a fantastic pass going through here. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Alonso that made a fantastic sideways pass through that bridge section. I think it was 2012. I believe that was when it was either 12 or 11. I can't really remember, but we've seen, especially this part of the track, it's wide. It's got different types of turns. We got 90-degree turns, we got swooping turns, we've got chicanes, and the fact that it's 23 turns is going to put a toll on these drivers' tires, and mentally it's going to be a strain on these drivers. As long race here under the lights in Singapore, and we're going to see Bronson Stafford take another win tonight. This is one of his best tracks. He was looking forward to this race more than any other race this season, as far as we were concerned, as far as he was telling us, and looks like he might be poised to have a win here tonight as well.
And it's been an honor to see these drivers. We're coming to the end of the season, and this is the biggest the field has really been. 12 drivers set up for this race. As Steve Rosennerda getting disqualified from the formation lap, he still will be eligible to race here. But man, it has been an honor to watch these drivers setting up, getting ready to race. Bronson Stafford looking like the favorite, but we also got to look back to the car that's going to be starting in third place. Breaky, this is one of his home tracks. He was born in Singapore, and we'll see if he can get a win here at the home track. But the drivers are lined up, ready to go, and we wait for the lights.
It's lights out and we're off. It looks like everyone gets off. Okay, well, they're four wide. The Ferrari and the McLaren getting a fantastic start into turn one. There's beating and banging between the other Ferrari in the background and with the AlphaTauri, but the two on the front row got absolutely driven around at the start of the race, as now it's going to be Breaky and Hardison in the front. But here comes Dyer with a bold move down into turn five. What can they do going down the boulevard? There's contact behind. It's a chaotic start at the Singapore Grand Prix.
That's going to be Caleb Smith, as well as Protus and Nerda, and also Hazardous having issues as they're all scattering up front. It's going to be Breaky on the lead, Spencer Hardison, and also the Balded one in third place, as they're all stacking up behind Spencer Hardison now, as we've got JD and Bronson Stafford fourth and fifth place, waiting for their time to make a pass here. And here's the thing, here in Singapore, it's hard to make passes, and right now you're seeing it.
Yeah, it's a tight track, and you got to make a mistake. You're going to have to make the driver in front of you make a mistake if you want to get around, and that's something that I think is going to be on the mind of Stafford now, as he's back into fifth place now after having the pole position for the start. He's got to make his way through the field. Passing, like you said, is going to be really hard. I'm still caught up on the start of the race. Breaky and Hardison went four wide with the front row down into turn one. I don't know how they made that work, but they're coming through the sector three at the moment. Now it's gonna look at the cavalcade of cars we have at the front. It's gonna be two Ferraris in first and fourth, the McLaren of Hardison second, and right now the Renault of Dyer running in third. This is something I didn't expect to see at the beginning of the race. The pole sitter all the way back to fifth as they come through turn 22 and 23.
Yeah, I mean, I broadcast a series that Bronson races in on Sundays, and he's been notorious whenever he gets the pole to have an awful start. As a driver, is going to be spinning out in the back, as I believe that was going to be the Red Bull machine, a mechanic. As a lot of cars coming in the pits, Hazard is frozen, and also Caleb Smith all coming into the pits. But this is huge for Brakey, out to a 2.1 second lead over second place of Spencer Hardison, who continues to just be holding up the rest of the field. Here comes Dyer trying to make a pass.
Oh, there was some contact between the two of them, and now they've made it work, but now Dyer goes through. Give the position to Dyer. Now he's losing positions not only to the second Ferrari, but it looks like he's going to be losing another position to the AlphaTauri of Bronson Stafford. Sorry, I looked over and I couldn't quite see what it was. My mind slipped, but now we're going through one of the more technical sections of the racetrack through the middle of sector 2, and this is a part where you really can't make a pass, so now it's going to be Stafford being held up by Hardison. I don't know if he can find a way around Hardison. He's trying his best, but now he's bringing in Javier, the second of the Renaults. He might lose position to the Renault here.
Yeah, Javier, who looked like he might have lost a part of his wing, actually able to stay up front at the moment. He's trying to make some moves. As Spencer Hardison is now officially locked back in. That was his bot that was racing for him for a second there. A great move by his bot so far to be keeping him right now in fourth place. As the battle for the lead, it's heating up as Dyer trying to run down Brakey, who has a pretty massive lead of over 2 seconds.
The second of the two Ferraris is actually running down Dyer at the moment as well. JD, it was a late race. It was a late race session join that he had during practice, and he was actually only in it for maybe about half the session. He ran only 1 or 2 laps, but now he's running third, a podium spot for the two Ferraris at the moment. And if this is the way the race goes, if passing is hard enough at this racetrack without being able to make any real passes, then if Bronson doesn't finish on the podium,
Smith's out of it.
oh no, that's virtual safety cars out now for the Mercedes.
It means you got to stay in the Delta zone. Not everyone is going to be grouping up. This is massive for our leader, Brakey, who could continue to move forward, but a massive wreck for Smith, who had struggles during practice, and it continues into the race as virtual safety car still out as we stay on board with this battle for fourth place. Spencer Hardison still holding up Bronson Stafford, and this is huge with Brakey and Stafford being on the same pitch strategy. I mean, being over 5 seconds back from the Ferrari, massive moves by this field right now as Spencer Hardison tries his best to hold off, as that lead gap right now is over 4 seconds there, Anthony.
Yeah, and under the virtual safety car, it's going to be even tougher on these drivers. They can't make passes. They have to stay within the Delta. So, right now, he can see what he has to do, but he can't do anything. And the virtual safety car's been pulled in. So now everyone's back to green flag racing, and Hardison got to jump over Stafford at the restart. So, he's going to actually be falling into the clutches of Javier now. This is an intense race. No one's been able to make a pass, but everyone's been able to be right close to everyone. And I go back to the start of the race. That bold move by Logan Brakey, able to get more wide with everybody. That's what's put him in this position. He's opened up a 4-second lead over the Renault of Dyer. He's got a huge gap, and in turn, the gap back to Stafford is even bigger than that.
Right now, you see DRS has been enabled. Stafford had it on the front stretch. He's going to continue to try to make this DRS work. There's 3 DRS zones for these drivers to work with for passing zones, but it's just the lanes and the straightaways aren't long enough sometimes to even try to make a pass. But right now, you got Bronson Stafford setting up Hardison to try to make a pass here on the McLaren.
And Hardison defend going down into what would be turn 7, I believe. What can he do? Oh, they're side by side, this contact, but he does get the move done. Stafford does. And now they're going through the technical sector 2 again, and I don't know if you can make a pass anywhere outside of a DRS zone, and we certainly see that Stafford's having some struggles with even staying pace with some of these drivers being held up. So if he gets held up behind JD, it might be another case where he's waiting for a DRS zone, as he's going to be in another one in a few moments, as DRS was enabled very shortly after the safety car came in. DRS now for Stafford going down in. Can he get alongside of JD? He does. So 2 positions in 1 lap. Does Stafford get? And he's gotten it cleared. Stafford back into third place.
Over 7 seconds back is Stafford to Brakey, and now 2.9 seconds away from Dyer as Bronson Stafford and AlphaTauri going to be trying to make a charge forward. We're 4 laps into 31 of this race, and it's been a wild one so far after an insane start at the race, as the closest battle on track is going to be back here for 5th place as Spencer Hardison under fire again, as JD actually going to be pulling into the pits.
Something amiss on the second Ferrari. I don't know what's happened. Is there wing damage? There was wing damage on that Ferrari, so he's got to come and get a wing repair. I don't know where he got it. He must have had some damage on one of the walls. He might have gone wide and smacked the wall just a little bit. So damage for that Ferrari. He's come back on track, and that's important because he's in a battle right now for the Constructors' Championship. He's going to come out somewhere around just in front of the second AlphaTauri. So if these two have to battle, then it's really going to be a matter of who can get points and who can't, because Frozen right now is the only driver other than Caleb Smith that wouldn't get any points. However, that being said, one of these two drivers could fall outside the points if they're not careful.
We're still on board with the battle for 4th place as we're on board with Javier. You can see in front of him, Spencer Hardison is going to be away as that battle for 6th place between teammates. The pass was made by JCW, going to get by Mechanic, and like I was saying for Javier, Spencer Hardison's been ducking in and out of this race. Right now, he's got Spencer Bot carrying this McLaren along.
And he's got a mirror full of Javier going down on through our second DRS zone. He's right along the back wing, the rear gearbox, nothing really done there.
That might be a pass here for 2nd place. Bronson Stafford is caught up to Dyer right now. And the bolted one, you see right there, I mean, that's exactly what he was doing during qualifying. Just getting a little bit loose and losing that rear end off the exit. And he continues to try to save it, but that is burning off so much of his rubber.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to come into the pits now. So these soft tires not doing a whole lot for a lot of these drivers. He's going to come down, get out of that battle, get some fresh rubber. I don't know if he's going to go on to another set of softs. He's going to the mediums now, so this is going to be his time to get that compound change out of the way. He's going to go on to the mediums, and I think he's going to stay on the mediums for the rest of the race. He might have to make another stop, but I have a feeling that the medium tire is going to be the preferred tire around this track.
Hazardous having issues back at the start of Sector 2 for that AlphaTauri, but luckily enough, he's got a massive lead over the Haas driver, Frozen Inerta, as another pass can be made, as Mechanic's going to have to come in and get a wing damage. Dyer finally getting out of the pits, and the drivers that started on the softs, they're going to be going with a medium strategy here, as our front two are probably going to be going for a medium to hard compound switch to try to turn this into a one-stop race and trying to save as much time as possible.
Not a bad strategy. Oh, we got 2 yellow flags. We got one in Sector 2 and 3.
Frozen's going to be the one in Sector 2. Don't know who exactly was that Sector 3 incident. But man, as we move back up for now, this 3rd place battle is Javier as well as Spencer Hardison. Both of them got to be thinking about pitting here soon, as they've been out there on these softs for about 5 laps. And it's going to be a 2-stopper for both these drivers, as well as Johnson back in 7th place. He's got a pit, and JCW. 4 drivers still looking for their first pit stop of the day on those softs.
Yeah, the soft tire, as we mentioned, not really the strongest tire here tonight. It was for qualifying, but even then we saw a lot of drivers opt for the mediums. Now, you mentioned that the medium drivers will probably go on to hards. That's not a bad idea, considering that they'll have one less stop to do at the end of this race. We're only on lap 7 of 31. It's a long lap around this circuit. The circuit is not particularly that much longer than another regular circuit is that we go to. The difference is that it takes so long to get around the lap because you are off the throttle so much through this track. Again, a 23-turn circuit. Compare that to somewhere like Austria that only has 10 turns, or somewhere like Monza. It's a huge contrast of tracks where we have high speeds and not a whole lot of turns, but we're going through these sections right now. It looks like that Brakey is losing a lot of time to Stafford at the moment. He's actually gotten caught up to about a 4.7 second gap. Still not a huge time being made up at the moment. It's still being chipped away, but it should be getting to the point where it's going to be mattering more as the Haas around right in front of Stafford. But eventually, Brakey's going to have to worry about Stafford being right behind him, because Stafford has definitely got the fastest car.
Yeah, Stafford has now moved to 4.2 seconds away. At one point, it was 7.3. So it's chipped it down by over 3 seconds at this moment. A massive comeback for Stafford, who had probably the worst start he could ask for, and somehow is making a charge forward, trying to run down this Ferrari machine. And there's enough time to do it within 4 laps right now. Bronson's cut it down by 3 seconds, and that's while they're on the same compound right now.
Yeah, and I feel like if these drivers go to the same compound after this next stop, it's going to continue on. So Ricky and Ferrari have got to be a little bit nervous at this point in time about what's the strategy going forward in this race, because they've got a long way to go. And this lead is not going to last very long as some Red Bull coming out of the pits. As there's a yellow in sector 3. I believe that was the Haas of Inerta coming down pit road. So one of the it looks like one of the Red Bulls has come out. I believe that's going to be Mechanic, as Tanner Johnson and JCW are in a huge battle right now. It looks like that. I think it was JCW getting the position over Johnson, but there was a lot of squeezing going on there.
Yeah, there was a ton of squeezing going on, and able to continue moving forward was going to be JCW past Tanner Johnson, and that was one of our closest battles as we now move back up. Spencer Hardison is closing in on JD as this battle is now about to heat up.
Yep, the McLaren is got some pace, does Hardison. He's had a bit of an off and on night. He had a lot of pace at the beginning. He was one of those that went 4 wide at the start. Looked like he was going to stay pretty well within the top 4, or at least maybe the top 5. He's still in the top 5, but just barely. Trying to get back up to JD to get that position away. He's got pace. He's fallen out of the session a couple of times, though, which has certainly not hurt or helped him. That's probably one of the reasons why he fell back to 5th place to begin with, is everyone was able to get around his bot. But now running down the Ferrari, it's got really close now. So they're coming through sector 2, trying to get up through to the Ferrari across the bridge. He's going to be in the DRS. He's going to have DRS at this point. I don't know if he's close enough to make a move, but he might be able to.
And looks like JD got the better exit out of that corner, and here comes the DRS for the McLaren. Spencer Hardison going to be trying to carry as much speed as possible, just not close enough to make the pass, but if we got a couple of good corners here, Genge's way within 3/10, that DRS is going to be very useful to try to make a pass here, as there are 3 zones in total on the track. Plenty of time to set up this Ferrari.
Plenty of time. He's got a long time to do it, too, so he's going to have to worry about someone in his rearview mirror, though, as Javier is going to join this battle very quickly. It's going to be a 3-car fight for 4th place. It's right now right on the gearbox. Oh, he's going to try to make the move going through the left U-turn. What a save by Hardison. Oh, now here comes the Renault. He doesn't have DRS, though, but he's staying right with him, carrying the momentum. A 3-car fight for 4th place back here, going through turns 1, 2, and 3. Man, how close could you put these cars on this track? With the wall so close, something's got to give.
Spencer Hardison feeling comfortable, trying to make a last corner pass, but wasn't able to. DRS is going to be enabled for both drivers of the Renault as well as the McLaren, trying to run down this Ferrari and possibly make a pass. As we keep a look back, the Renault was not close enough to try to dive it in, but this 3-horse battle for 4th place, it's heating up, and this is the closest battle here on track.
Yeah, the closest battle on track at the moment. We're keeping an eye on the battle for the lead as it's down to 2.7 seconds. But right now, we have a whale of a battle going on between these drivers. JD trying to hold off both of these drivers behind him. So Hardison and Javier going through sector 2. And again, it's going to be another run down to the DRS zone across the bridge. Now we go through the boulevard. It's going to be, I think both Hardison and Javier are going to be within striking distance. I don't know how well of a run that Hardison's going to have going down, but I think it's going to resolve itself. No one able to make the move yet, but they're still right with each other. Oh, the Haas of, I believe Johnson's off the track behind him. Nope, that's going to be Inerta off behind them.
As he's doing donuts, trying to finally get straightened back up as we move back to this battle that's going on. This is the sector where we were seeing Spencer Hardison be the fastest on the Ferrari. We'll see if we can set him up again here he comes through the sector. I mean, this McLaren looks quick. He's just got to make sure he's got the tires. As right now, between all 3 drivers at this moment, JD on the older mediums is woo! Here comes Spencer Hardison on the inside, trying to make the pass. They're still side by side.
Oh, there's some wing damage now. They made contact, and now the McLaren has got some wing damage. I think so too does the Ferrari. So both of them with a wounded car, and now it's gotten the move done. But now that means that the Renault of Javier is going to have the healthiest car out of this bunch. He's got a run going down the boulevard. What can he do going down to this turn? They're going to go 3 wide. Can they make it work? Oh, they somehow did it. Javier still side by side with Hardison. Look at the hands in that car. They're wheeling around, and now Javier up into 4th place. But man, that was a dive bomb and a half.
He passed both drivers in practically 1 corner. I mean, I don't know where he found that speed, but the DRS overtake button is well enabled, and away he goes. The Renault team's now running in 3rd and 4th position. A great run for both of them.
Down through turn 13, the slowest turn on the racetrack. These drivers have been in a dogfight. The healthiest of these cars right now is Javier, so he's probably going to check out from these 2 drivers. But Hardison and JD both have slight front wing damage. I think they're both missing an end plate apiece. So now it's going to be a battle between the wounded cars. Do they stay out? How long do they dare stay out with the damage on their cars? I don't think that they can stay out much longer. With the way that this track is, they're going to have to come down pit road eventually to get those wings repaired. And I think it's more or less a battle of when rather than if, because right now JD is struggling in the Ferrari. Not a whole lot of front wing left. He's going to come down pit road.
Had to come in. This Ferrari was out of control there for the last couple of corners. Thought he was about to dump it, able to make it into the pits. We'll see what this Ferrari takes. Does he go to the hards or switches back to mediums? He's going on to the mediums.
All right, so
going on the hards, getting some wing damage repaired. This should be his final stop of the day.
All right, we're not going to see this Ferrari in pit road again this race. He's made 2 stops. This will be his 2nd stop so far, so he's planning on going to the end of the race. He's got to keep his nose clean throughout the rest of the race, but he might be able to make up some positions because there's a lot of drivers in front of him that still need to pit at least 1 more time. So not a whole lot he can do in that matter. He did have so much wing damage, could not stay out any longer, so kind of had to as a necessity. But as we go to the front, the battle for the lead is within a second, almost within a second now. So DRS is going to come into play very soon between these 2 drivers, and they've got a lot of cars that they have to go to get around, as right now the window is open for the medium drivers that started the race on the mediums. Anywhere between now and lap 17, they can come down pit road. So if they go to the hards, they won't have to pit again for the rest of the race, meaning this battle for the lead might stay with us for a long time, as right now is within a second. I think that Stafford might be on DRS. Not quite, did not get the detection zone in enough time.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a peekaboo, here I am, I see you kind of type of a moment here for Brakey, as he can finally see the AlphaTauri on his rearview mirror, and that 7-second lead is gone. It is less than almost a half a second. The AlphaTauri of Bronson Stafford cruising at this point, waiting for his time to be coming into the pits. We'll see if the medium drivers want to push it as far as they can. As they're coming up the lap traffic in front of them, they got to be aware to figure out how to get by it.
Yeah, it's one of the Haas drivers that they're going to encounter very soon, going through 13 and run into 14. So we're going to have to see how they can navigate right now. Stafford looks like he's very content to run 2nd place right now. He knows he's got the fastest car. As we've seen, though, if drivers get too racy, they might run into each other. That could throw away a race in a heartbeat. And you know that Logan Brakey, he wants to win this race. He does not want to give up any more points to this AlphaTauri. He wants Ferrari to at least win the Constructors' Championship this season. He's on track to do so. You know he's going to fight like heck for this 1st place position as they're coming through the final section of the racetrack. That's Brakey coming to the pits. They're both going to come into the pits, so both leaders in the pits at this moment.
Keeping it close, and this is the best action. Don't speed under pit road. Both of them come in cleanly. I just do want to make a correction back at the Canadian Grand Prix. I said Bronson Stafford was the only Canadian. That was false. Brakey also grew up a Canadian, as he was born here at Singapore, so he's got 2 home tracks. He wasn't able to win it back in Canada, but trying to win here, as he's got a hungry AlphaTauri behind him. Can the Ferrari stay in front? It's going to be a long track, and it's going to be a hard one, but here they go.
I just noticed something very, very prominent. Brakey's on hards. Stafford's gone back to medium, so he's still got to make one more stop. Brakey has no intentions of making another stop this race, and Dyer has opened up a huge lead over these two. Somehow, some way, he's been able to make up the time, and now he's running 7.5 seconds from these two. Looks like that Stafford's going to make the pass easily on this Ferrari, but remember, this Ferrari does not have to pit again throughout the rest of the race. He's planning on going the rest of the race on these hards. Stafford is guaranteed to have to come in at least one more time. So can Stafford accumulate a big enough lead that he doesn't lose the lead under another pit stop cycle? Or does he plan to go, well, he can. He's got to come down and make a compound change. So I'm not really sure
He's
what
going to go to soft. He's going to do medium, soft. That's what he's aiming for.
So he's going to run some hot laps at the end. Does he get a big enough lead in order to get in front of this Ferrari with a big enough lead? He's still got to run down the Renault. He's running purple sector lap times at the moment. He's got about 6 seconds up to the Renault of Dyer. I don't know if he can get a big enough lead. I mean, I'm sure he can. He can go at least 13 laps with these tires. There's about... Ooh.
As JCW, Spencer Hardison back at it. You got the McLaren and the Red Bull. As we hop on board, it's Spencer Hardison's bot still running for him as he's trying to get a top 5 finish here. As it's been a struggle for this McLaren with internet issues, it looks like trying to stay connected. As the McLaren running in 5th place, but here comes JCW and the Red Bull.
Yeah, he's right on the gearbox.
Oh, here's another thing. I think JCW might be an AI as well. So we got 2 bots battling it out here for 5th place.
Ooh, so interesting. We get to see what these 2 drivers can do. The 2 bot drivers can do with Hardison bot and JC bot. Right now, it looks like they're in a pretty good battle, a pretty good dogfight between these 2 drivers going through the final 2 turns and onto the front straightaway. So crucial points for Red Bull and McLaren as they're pretty close in the standings as far as constructors go. So a bit of a one-up between these 2 teams, since the Constructors Championship is probably the most interesting that I've seen in a Formula One league in a long time. Is there's a lot of teams that are right with each other and a huge battle on the racetrack at the moment. Javier still finds himself in 4th place, running a very lonely 4th place at the moment. But Sam, we've seen that this race started chaotic, and now we've kind of gotten into a bit of a trying to find out what your car can do and stick with it kind of mode in this race. Is no one really able to advance anything. Stafford trying to get to the lead of the race. He hasn't held the lead in the race at all this race. He had the pole, hasn't led a single lap, as it's been one of the Ferraris or right now a Renault leading the race.
Well, it's not going to be soon now. I'm probably within a lap and a half. That's when we're going to see Bronson Stafford passing the Baldwin 1, aka Matt Dyer. As right now, Bronson has cut this lead that Matt Dyer had in 2 laps. He's lost over, I believe, almost 4 seconds or more. It's been incredible to see how fast we've been seeing Bronson put these lap times as he purples another lap, fastest lap of the race.
Now, I want to mention a thing that I've been thinking about since the start of the race. We saw that the soft tires didn't last very long at all for these drivers. In fact, it was only about 4 laps that the softs were good for. So if Stafford goes onto the softs later in the race, he's going to have a hard time getting around this track as opposed to the mediums, which seems to be the preferred tire throughout the entire race. As the hards don't seem to really have that much of an advantage as far as that goes, as Brakey has lost a ton of time to Stafford and pretty much everyone else that's running a medium tire. Even the tires that are old mediums, they're starting to catch up to the Ferrari. Like Javier is starting to catch up to Brakey at the moment. So, you know, I'm just wondering, are the softs really going to be that big of an advantage? I mean, at least in the short run they will be, but do you dare go onto them any earlier than 2 or 3 laps to go?
I mean, you kind of have to, because you're going to have to pit, you're going to lose time to Brakey, and you've got to have enough time to try to run Brakey down with the softs and then make the pass possibly, and hope that you've made yourself a big enough lead here with the mediums that you don't really have to run too hard on those softs and burn them off immediately. But the battle for the lead underway. I said it was going to be a lap and a half, and it is already going to fruition, as here is the AlphaTauri trying to get back to the lead where he's been all season long.
Yeah, he hasn't led a single lap so far this race, but that might change at the end of lap 16 as they're about ready to take it. on the DRS is going to be Bronson Stafford into turn 1. Not close enough to make anything happen there. Oh, they've got a slow car of mechanic who stopped in the middle of turn 2. I don't know what the Red Bull was doing in there, but he's gotten out of the way. And now we have those two drivers that have gotten separated a bit, going through turn 4 or 5, get run down into turn 7, down the boulevard. Oh man, this is going to be intense for these drivers. There's a lot of lap traffic in front of the leaders.
As we stay on board to see when this pass is going to be made, will we see if Bronson Stafford try to use one of these lap cars as a pick in a way? But it is coming close as Bronson's just in striking distance. Here comes the crossover move.
And it's going to be a really well done move by Stafford, but here comes Dyer was going to have another run and then he got really loose, but now Stafford in the lead of the races. Now he's got to get around both the Haas's. I don't know if he can get around them in enough time because now it's going to be Dyer on the DRS, but so too does Stafford have DRS, so Stafford might have gotten away with it here.
Can Dyer get past the Haas? No, we came for a second. It stalls him out for a moment, losing him time. And now Bronson Stafford's pulling away as the Haas drivers tried their best to get out of the battle for the lead as they slightly were in the way. Oh no! Into the wall hard goes Tanner Johnson.
Oh, that was a big incident from, he's got lost his entire front wing, did Tanner Johnson do, so he's going to have to come down pit road again. I apologize, my internet cut out for a second there, so if I missed something, then I apologize, but Johnson going to go into the pits with a very damaged Haas machine, going to have to get that entire front wing repaired. I got to say, it's a little bit eerie seeing these cars without a front wing. They just look really off without them, but Stafford now in the lead of the race. First time tonight on lap 16 he led the race, and now on to lap 17 of 31. We're getting close to about 10 laps to go. It's been a long race thus far, the longest race of the 50% races that we've had so far this season. Remember, we used to run 100% races up until I believe Monaco was a 50% lap race, and then ever since then it's been 50% races, as they have produced some incredible racing out of these drivers, knowing that they only have a limited amount of laps to get the job done in. That being said, this is on par to be one of the longer ones of the season, just based on how long the laps are, as we said earlier in the program. And right now we're seeing a battle of new mediums versus old mediums between Stafford and Dyer. Dyer on 10-lap old mediums and Stafford on 3-lap old mediums. So given the fact that he was able to keep the battle that intense for that long is somewhat of a miracle considering the state of his tires.
Yeah, I mean, it was the help of the DRS that really helped Dyer stay where he was at right now in second place, and really his mark will be trying to get past Brakey here as we drop back for this battle here for 5th place. It continues on between the bots of Spencer Hardison and JCW. But as we're past the halfway marker, this battle is going to continue on as another driver going to be coming into the pits, I believe, as issues down on the front stretch now has been cleared up. But we will keep ourselves still side-by-side action. You won't miss a thing here on this battle as it continues to be close action between the McLaren and the Red Bull machine. We're going to go FRN side-by-side. We'll be right back to finish off the rest of this race.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the Veterans of Foreign Wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in-depth. Enter iRacing iFlag. iFlag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe even in the rear or side view mirrors. You may not notice or even hear when the caution comes out, when your car is damaged, or if you get black flagged, or even notice the car beside you. Yes, iFlag will point out the signs and tell you where that car is. It just makes iRacing more real and can help you become a better driver. We also offer iRacing iFlag Digital Pit Box. This small box is a great addition to any sim rig. With only 3.5 inches wide, it gives you all the information you need, including how many laps completed, how much fuel you will need to finish, what lap you need to pit on, laps till your fuel is empty, as well as weather and track conditions. It also switches when you come down pit road for more information, including what lap you're pitting under, tire wear, laps on tires, fuel average, and much, much more. To see more info, check us out today at iracingiflag.com.
And we are back to Slipstream F1 Championship racing here at Singapore, as drivers are now underway with pit stops. We saw the balded one, aka Matthew Dyer, come in the pits, and we've also now just seen JCW Spencer Hardison coming in with their pit stops, and Hazardous getting a penalty. Anthony, we were talking over the break, trying to figure out the numbers on how far Breaky needs to be to have the chance to have the lead, but even if he gets the lead, we were talking about there might not even be a chance for him to hold that lead.
Yeah, he's got to be about anywhere from 20 to 23 seconds in order to take the lead of the race, or even be up there for a chance to take the lead of the races. That's about the delta when you go down pit road. So knowing that Stafford has to make one more stop, it's a guarantee that he's going to have to come down pit road again to get a change of compound, as he's only been on the mediums since the start of the race. So we know that for a fact he's got to come down again. Logan Breaky does not have to come down anymore, as he went from medium to hard. So he's going to try a one-stop strategy. He's got to maintain a gap about 23 seconds at the maximum. Now, if Stafford, with only a few laps remaining in the race, goes on to the softs, which at this point in time, it'd be kind of crazy if he didn't go to the soft tire, he's going to be a lightning fast car for a couple of laps. As we've seen, the soft tire does fade away very quickly around this track. Actually, we saw a lot of drivers come in a lap 4 or 5 of the race trying to get new tires put on their car, and we've seen that the mediums have been able to go anywhere from 10 to about 13 laps at the most. So process of elimination, that means that Javier is going to be on pit road, and he has actually come back out on the track after a stop. He's gotten another set of mediums. He's one of those drivers that started on soft, so another set for mediums of mediums for him. And now Mechanic should be the next one on pit road if that's the trend. But we're coming down about 7 laps on these tires for Stafford, meaning that he's going to be very close to that window in a couple laps time. But the way the interval is looking right now, he's got about 17.5-second lead at this point in time. Let's say he stays out for 3 more laps. That gap could be at 22 seconds by the time he comes into pit road. I don't know. To me, I don't think it's going to be anything that Breaky can do in order to gain anything from this. I think he was kind of hoping that he'd get held up or the tires would fall off quicker, but not so. So we're going to have to wait and see what he can do when he gets to that point. The good news is that there might be so few laps left in the race that Breaky could put on a bit of a defense and possibly hold up Stafford enough to maybe keep him behind him, as it seems like we've only seen passing done in the DRS zones or just after them. So he can keep him at bay. He might have a chance.
Although the fact that we're kind of in a waiting zone, we'll do a quick rundown of where the drivers are at. Like we stated, Bronson Stafford leading the way in first place in his AlphaTauri team. It took him about 18 laps to finally get up to the lead, but he hasn't looked back since. Then we've got the Ferrari of Breaky, who have put on a stellar start here of the race, going 4 wide with Spencer Hardison, Bronson Stafford, and Matthew Dyer to try to get the lead. Got it, pulled away to almost a 7-second lead, And now he's just been trying to keep that lead as much as possible. He lost it to Stafford there for a second, and now is in a looming and waiting state to see when that AlphaTauri is going to come into the pits. And then we've also in third place got the balded one, aka Matthew Dyer, in the Renault squad. He's kind of on the run down Breaky as fast as I can train. I don't think he's aiming for a win because he's just not close enough to have a big enough lead over Bronson Stafford, but still trying to do the best that he can while he's in the middle of traffic. And Anthony, in fourth place, we've got JD in that Ferrari.
Yeah, we have JD in the Ferrari, who at one point in this race was on the podium, but now not so much, as he had some interesting issues happen to him. He lost the front wing earlier in the race and had to come down and get that repaired. He's back up to fourth, running on the hard as well. So both Ferraris looking to go to the end of the race on the hard compound. Behind him is going to be the second of the Renaults. It's going to be Harvier, and he's had a similar race to JD. He started out really well, and then he ended up getting some contact with some drivers. Oh, we have a Haas around, and I believe that's
going to be Tanner again. Tanner Johnson hard into the wall again. This it's a different spot, but he should be able to come into the pits, and he will. But his teammate, I believe, is already in there. Is getting out now. There shouldn't be a stack. Another coming yellow. That's going to be Johnson as well. As man, these cars all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, this track is proving to be tough for a lot of these drivers. There's really only one section of this racetrack is permanent racetrack, and that is the complex at the start-finish straight. That's about the only part of the track that's familiar to these drivers as far as regular tracks go. After that, it's all street circuit. But Javier looking for a good finish, though. He's had a podium this season, and I believe that was at Spa where he had the podium. So he's looking for another good finish here tonight, running in the fifth place position. And then in sixth, we have JCW in the Red Bull, who, again, is a similar situation to JD and Javier, where they were battling pretty close with each other. But it was these three drivers, apart from Hardison. Hardison was another one of those drivers that was involved in a scuffle with these drivers that ended up getting contact. 3 wide eventually at one point going into one of these turns. I believe it was at the end, going down to turn 7, there was 3 wide action, and they were all able to make it work somehow, and he finds himself running in 6th place in that Red Bull.
And then we've also got Spencer Hardison. JCW and Spencer Hardison both bots at the moment during this race, as they're running 6th and 7th, trying to do the best that they can to just get to salvage a decent run for themselves. Back in 8th place is the other AlphaTauri that's doing exactly what he needs to do. Get points, finish in the top 10, and help with the constructor side of things. And Hazardous has been doing that. He's had a couple of penalties given to this team, about a 5-second. I don't think he's gotten a 3, but he got a speeding penalty for himself. And then just had a couple of instances where he had to come to the pits, get wing repair on the first lap. But so far, a decent run for himself.
Indeed so, and back and...
Oh, JD's coming to the pits.
Ooh, so maybe he's not going to the end. He's going to put on some mediums. All right, so mediums going on for that Ferrari. He's going to try to go to the end of the race on these tires. I believe so. He's got plenty of laps, and these tires are going to last well within the range to do so. So that pulls into question, though, is Breaky going to be able to go to the end of the race on his hards? I would assume so, considering that JD came in much earlier than his teammate, but he's going to come right into the middle of a lot of traffic, but he's going to have fresh tires, so he might be able to claw his way back up there. But the 2 Renaults find themselves running back in similar spots again, 3rd and 4th now, and I think at the end of the race, I think we're going to be guaranteed to have at least 1 Renault on the podium. As right now, Dyer's got a lot of pace, but Javier 45 seconds back to Dyer. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch that.
Yeah, and the most impressive thing right now is Dyer has been clawing his way at Breaky. As at one point it was 18 seconds back, it's now down to 5.2 seconds is the difference between 2nd and 3rd place. We'll keep our eyes out on that as we continue down a rundown. We've got Duncan, Mechanic, and also the other Red Bull machine had a couple of woes, and then to finish out our 10th and 11th, I think it's been the same story for both these Haas drivers. It's being caught up into the wall, and a lot of wing damage for both these guys that are just trying to survive and make it to the end of this race.
Yeah, that's the name of the game for them at the moment, is a Haas gun off the track right behind Stafford. But this track, again, I can't say enough how tough this track is. 23 turn circuit this Singapore circuit is, and being that it is mostly street circuit, it's got that extra little bit of challenge that comes into these tracks. We normally see them run at purposely built circuits, and we're going to go to a few of them coming up soon. But Sam, as we look towards the end of the season, we still got a long way to go in this race, but we've got Suzuka next, and then we have, I believe it's the USA, then Abu Dhabi, then Brazil. We'll actually talk about that in a minute because Stafford's coming to the pits.
Bronson Stafford coming into the pits, and now the question is, where will he be coming back onto the track? As well as we got this battle here for 5th place, where we got JCW and JD. JD trying to get by the bot of JCW, but just hasn't had the chance. Going to be using DRS now as we continue to watch and see where the AlphaTauri, excuse me, is going to be coming out of the pits. Where will the Ferrari and also the Renault be once he comes out?
Well, the Ferrari of Brake's going to take the lead, but Stafford's going to be on the softs. Now this pulls into question, though, because here comes Dyer. He's going to be right behind Stafford, but Stafford's going to be on the much faster compound. The problem I have is, how long are these tires going to last? Because now Dyer's got weathered in mediums. We've seen the mediums have some pace, but I honestly think that Stafford's still going to be the fastest car. Certainly going to be the fastest car for a few laps. Can he make them last to the end of the race is the question.
This helped Dyer so much because Bronson came out right in the zone for DRS for that little stretch on the back stretch there for the Renault. As he spins around, Dyer goes around and clobbers the inside wall. And oh no, just like that, another chance for a great run for this Renault team, and it is thrown out the window.
A lot of wing damage on that car. That's going to be a killer for that machine. We were talking about one of the Renaults being on the podium. Well, I said that it might have been a little out of the realm of chance for Javier, but now that's going to certainly change as DRS has been enabled, as we're back to racing here at Singapore as the virtual safety car is over, but still no real safety car has come out, and I think that's going to hurt Brakey, because if that had been an actual safety car come out, then Brakey could have come down pit road and gotten some softs as well. So we have to find a battle between these two drivers, as looks like that Dyer's just trying to get back to pit road. He had lost his wing in the worst part of the circuit. He's got to make pretty much an entire lap around this track in order to get back. But battle for the lead. Looks like it's going to be Stafford right in the back of the Ferrari.
And here comes Stafford. A little block for the Ferrari, but here he comes on the outside. Is the AlphaTauri that makes the pass. Bronson Stafford back to the point. But for how long? These softs, we've documented it multiple times. They've only been solid for about 4 to 5 laps. And he just got into the window here where it's going to be 5 laps on these tires. It's going to be a risky call. And can these harder compounds for Brakey, can they come in to possibly challenge the softs? But away Stafford goes, already over a 1.2 second lead.
Yeah, I would think that even if the soft tires fall off towards the end of the run, I believe that he's going to accumulate a big enough lead that it's not going to matter. He can nurse the car around and get a win here, as he's absolutely flying away. As we got another yellow out on the racetrack, that's going to be another Haas driver. He's actually gone off track in that same spot a lot.
Frozen Inerta.
Yeah, he's gone off in that same turn a lot. That would be turn 14, where we've seen that driver go off multiple times. We're actually coming up onto it at the moment. Turn 14.
It's 3 seconds now, and we just finished sector 3. Bronson is gone.
JD just put in a fastest lap, so there's that. I don't know how he did that. He's on the medium, so those mediums have been weathered in, so the Ferrari might be getting a bonus point. I don't think that will stick for very long, because Stafford's probably going to get that honor at the end of this lap. But yeah, Sam, he's gone. A 4-second gap already. Inerta just got a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. A lot's happening into the closing stages of the race. 2 virtual safety cars. You have to be, oh, there it is, a 138.8, fastest lap we've seen tonight, period.
Okay, I'm going to document exactly when Bronson made the pass. He made the pass here on this straightaway. In 1 lap, Bronson Stafford has now made the gap between first and second 5 seconds. In 1 lap, Anthony, that is ridiculous to see.
Well, you got to think that he's on the softs. He's got the fastest compound by default. And Brakey's got the slowest slick compound by default, being on the hard. So, and he's on 13 lap old hard. So those tires are gonna, yes, there's gonna last for a long time. But given that they are definitely not soft compound tires. They are not going to be up to speed no matter how long you run on them. Stafford's going to accumulate this big lead. And this is the thing that you and I alluded to. I don't know. We weren't sure how long that Breaky was going to keep the lead if he did get the lead. But we saw him take the lead, and we saw it was not very long that Breaky was able to hold on the hard tires. It's now Stafford cruising at this point. He could run in the leanest fuel mix he wanted to. He could back off so much now. He doesn't have to worry about anything. He's opened up almost a 10-second lead at the end of lap 27.
I'm trying to keep my eye out also on Dyer, who just is also on the softer compounds. These two, between Bronson Stafford and the Balded One, are going to be trying to see who can have the fastest lap time here at the later stages of this race. Right now, the difference between Dyer and his teammate Javier is going to be 4.7 seconds, but that's just going to grow now with Dyer on the softs. Now the question is, can Dyer stay clean, as he was looking solid to get a second place finish for the Renault squad, and it just was squandered getting onto the gas just a little bit too soon.
It seems like it's the story of Dyer this season. He came into the season late. I believe he's made about half the season, or a little bit more than half the season. But we've seen him have great promising runs, and then something happens. Think back to Spain. It was the case where he ended up going off in turn 3 and spun the car around there. And then we saw at Canada, one of the biggest examples of just how the season has gone for Dyer is he was on the soft compound during a spit of rain, and he spun after keeping the car straight for so long. He was on track to inherit the lead, ended up getting off track and basically throwing away his race into turn 1 in the complex in turn 1. And ever since then, it's just been little things like that that's accumulated, where he's had promising runs and then it just kind of fizzles out, as Singapore is no exception, as huge damage on the front wing. He was on track for a battle between Breaky. He could have finished second in this race.
As we look at the total number of stops these drivers have had to make, Bronson Stafford with 2, Breaky being the only one to make 1 stop, and then everyone else doing 2 stops except for Dyer, as well as JD that had to do multiple stops. Cars having issues in the back. Believe that could have been hazardous, and it is.
Yep, one of the Alpha Tauris. Now this is crucial though, because even though these had some hardships, there are 2 Alpha Tauris in the field, and as we alluded to in the Constructors Championship, that's important because both Ferraris are here tonight. One of them is running in 2nd, one of them is running in 5th. So if Bronson Stafford wins the race, gets 25 points, let's say he also gets the fastest lap bonus, he gets 26 points. That's also 26 points going towards Alpha Tauri. With Hazardous not having a really good run right now, he's actually going to fall back. I think he's going to be in 9th place at the moment, so he's only going to get 1 spot above 1 point, meaning that that's not going to add a whole lot. Breaky and JD, with where they're running right now, would keep it about level, meaning they're going to hold on to whatever they can. So Ferrari looking pretty strong at the end of this race, and with only 4 races left, they have to stay this consistent, because Suzuka is going to be one of those races where it's going to be challenging for a lot of these drivers. Do you think here tonight's going to be challenging? Then just wait till we get to Japan.
Yeah, Japan has been notorious for some of these drivers of not really being their favorite track to go to. It's just difficult. It's hard to run at times. There's some sand traps that kind of sneak up on the drivers. So it's going to be a very hard race for everyone out there. 3 laps to go. Coming to 2 laps once we see Bronson cross the line. And Anthony, it started off crazy, and at one moment there was a potential chance of there being a wild race to the end here if Bronson tires faded away, and maybe if Dyer was still on his mediums and trying to challenge for 2nd place. But everything shook up there on the final about 5 laps or so that changed everything from where they were at. Everyone now very spread out from everyone else, and not much gaining on time is right now.
No, and I think a lot of these drivers are kind of okay with that, because given how chaotic the first half of the race was, now they're just able to get out there and run what they can. And this has kind of been the way the season has gone for a lot of these drivers, is that it's a chaotic opening, maybe an opening 2 laps, and the rest of the race is just running around the racetrack trying to get whatever they can. But tonight we have seen more action throughout the entire field that we have all season long. One of the biggest fields we've seen tonight all season long. Think back to, I believe we were talking about the race at the Netherlands, it was only about 6 cars that took the start of that race. Now we've doubled the field essentially. We're running 12 cars tonight. Biggest field that we've had outside of, I believe, Spa had 11. Spa I think had 12 as well. So Spa and Singapore both getting 12 drivers in the race. And, you know, a huge bounce back from Spa for some of these drivers, because Logan Brakey was one of those drivers at Spa that DNF'd from the race, as well as Matthew Dyer in the Renault. So both of them have bounced back tremendously. They both had good runs at Monza. Of course, there's only one Ferrari running at Monza, I believe. I don't think JD took the start of that race. So they're right now they're scrounging a bounce back for Ferrari and for Renault, as they're running 3 and 4 right now. And Stafford, there's really been no bouncing back. He's had the most consistent car all throughout the season. AlphaTauri has put together one heck of a machine coming on the final lap. It looks like that it might be another Bronson Stafford victory.
And coming across the line, a white flag in the air. Fastest lap that we were just looking at on our telemetry board does go to the AlphaTauri. And you know, with how many races are left, Bronson has really been gapping himself from the rest of the field. I believe this race could possibly be the race that locks Bronson Stafford for the win. Drivers wise, constructors wise is still a possibility for Ferrari to come back into this thing. As coming into this race, they were a total of 31 points back was Ferrari to AlphaTauri. So those two teams are still neck and neck, but it is going to be extremely close. But Bronson Stafford, after lap number 18, he looked like he was going to be the fastest car. Then he had to wait and see if he could get in front of Brakey. Had to switch to softs to have a chance. And ever since then, never has looked back, pulling away every single lap, Anthony. And it's been a real treat every single week, as this should be win number 11 for the AlphaTauri team.
Win 11 of a 15 race season. There's been 11 races so far run, and all 11 of them have gone to Bronson Stafford. And barring any last sector weirdness, we should be seeing another victory under that AlphaTauri's belt. And it's been not a clear-cut season for this team either. They've had to go through adversity as well. I keep alluding back to Monaco. That was one of the biggest examples of adversity that this driver had to go through, including Canada, another track that they had to go through. This one, same thing. He went all the way back to 5th at one point, had to claw his way back through the field as the fireworks illuminate. Bronson Stafford with another victory on the season, 11 this season, and AlphaTauri extending their points lead in the drivers and possibly even the Constructors' Championship.
11 races won, 6 poles this season, and I believe this race has clinched it for the AlphaTauri team of Bronson Stafford for the drivers' points. Now the battle moves on to the constructor side for these final 4 laps at Suzuka, US, Abu Dhabi, and at Brazil. It's going to be a wild one for sure, as Brakey's going to get second, and the rest of the field still racing around, as we are just waiting to see where drivers going to be landing. Right now, Dyer in the Balded One name is going to be trying to go for 3rd place, as Renault going to be going for a 3rd, 4th position battle. But don't look now, as Dyer comes across the line. The battle for 4th place still underway, as JD, he's not going to be close enough.
The fireworks illuminating the battle so far, but it is going to be Javier going to be on 4th place, and the second of the Ferraris are going to be crossing the line 5th. A great run for them, as now we're waiting for the Red Bull of JCW coming through. He's got Hardison right behind him, so these two still right next to each other. I don't think that Hardison's going to have anything for JCW coming down to the final turns, but as the fireworks still go off, it's going to be the Red Bull of JCW just edging out the McLaren of Hardison at the end of the race.
But the driver that does it every single week, Bronson Stafford and the AlphaTauri team, gets win number 11. As Gilberto Javier going to be getting the win here in the Renault team, and a huge win. Getting driver of the day. Most passes done. I believe it was a total of 5 passes this race for that Renault team. But there's the trophy being raised for Bronson Stafford. We've seen it now for 11 weeks, Anthony, and still is surprising every week the way that he gets it done, because it seems like it's different every week.
It is. It's week by week basis. Sometimes it's a clear cut race where he gets the pole and then drives away from the field. But some races are like this where he has the pole and he has to fall back and claw his way back through the field and gets another win on the season. As you take a look at the finishing results, look at our finishing results. It is incredible. A huge contrast from the start of the season where we saw it was Ferrari and AlphaTauri at the top of the board consistently on the podiums. Now, Renault is making a last-ditch effort at the end of the season to get their names up on the podium more often, as Javier has gotten it done so far this season, and Dyer has gotten his name up on the podium a bunch. So Renault is a 4-speed recommend. And I gotta say, if they had been racing since the start of the season, we might have a very different result in the constructors right now.
Yeah, it would be extremely different to see, as both Renault drivers came in the middle of the season, both of them running in our top 10 in points. Matt Dyer is going to be 5th in points, trying to run down Spencer Hardison, with this being Dyer's 5th podium of the season. Logan Brakey with this podium, he is now going to be getting another great run, as now we're going to be moving into our wind down session here. As an incredible race there, Anthony, as we start to bring in drivers for interviews. What were some of your final thoughts of this race?
The walls were incredibly dangerous for a lot of these drivers, namely the Haas's, as they bounced off the walls a ton this race. That was immediate takeaway. But another immediate takeaway is you can, again, stick Bronson Stafford into any situation, whether it be a dominating run or having to bounce back to the field, and he was able to make it work. We saw him make passes that I didn't think were possible. Also, 4 wide into turn 1 on the first lap. That was incredible. That was something that I don't think I was ever anticipating, and I have to say that has got to be the highlight of the race. Also, that 3-wide battle going into turn 7 between, I believe that was Hardison, JD, and I believe Dyer or Javier was the one that they went 3 wide down into turn 7. These drivers able to make passes work. The track really was top-notch start to finish as far as condition-wise, and Sam, it's been extremely popular and extremely successful Singapore Grand Prix that we've put on tonight.
It really has. As now we're going to be talking to 3rd place runner Matt Dyer to see his point of view on how that 4-wide action was. Matt, it's Sam and Anthony up in the booth. You got us?
I got you.
I know that race didn't go the way that you wanted, but we're just going to go back to the start. That start was one of the wilder starts we've seen all season long. How was it going 4 wide into quarter number 1?
I was actually surprised that Spencer's AI was right there. That I'm not sure if they like jumped it or whatnot, but I was really concerned. I almost lost the wing, but thankfully I didn't.
And then once, so like we said, it didn't go the way you wanted. What exactly happened that caused you to spin there while you were trying to run down Brakey?
I don't know. To me, I wasn't even that close. It must have just been, like a netcode issue. But even before that, I think I would have been a lot closer when I pitted for my last stop. So did Shane, and it made me wait like an extra 3 seconds when he passed me for me to get out of my box. So that was 3 seconds I didn't have. And when Bronson came out of the pits, I was right on top of him. So that would have been 3 seconds I would have loved to have right there. So it's unfortunate.
Now, I want to ask a question that was on my mind all night long. We saw some drivers didn't even go to the soft compound at all this race, namely Logan Brakey never went on to softs, neither did Bronson Stafford. You were on softs for a little bit. Were the soft tires at a disadvantage tonight? Because it didn't seem like they worked as well. I mean, we saw Bronson Stafford go on to them late in the race, but were the mediums better than the softs wholesale tonight? Because it seemed like a lot of drivers favored the mediums over the softs.
Oh yeah, the mediums were definitely the tire to be on for race pace. I wanted to get my softs out of the way first because I knew the mediums would be a lot better, and I knew if I could get on through my softs first while they were on old mediums, and I could get on fresh mediums. When they pitted, I had, I think, an 8-second gap, so I was really hoping. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be able to pull out and, at least have a gap to where, I had a buffer. It was actually surprising to see Bricky go on the medium, on the hards, but, it almost worked out for him, and, I think I would have caught him and passed him if it wasn't for that pit road incident. But it is what it is.
Well, the season's coming to an end here, Matt, and I know you're trying to hunt for Spencer Hardison to try to pass him points wise, and looking good with another third place finish for yourself. Before we let you go, though, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, just shout out to the Rep Sports and Raise Energy. I'm an ambassador for them, so you use Ball 15, you get 15% off of their order, and they're pretty good. All the flavors are pretty good too, so definitely shout out to them and to you guys as well.
That's Matt Dyer and the Renault team getting a third place finish here today at Singapore, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week. And Anthony, it was a battle all season long. Logan Breakey officially could not win the championship here, but another solid day. Logan, it's Sam and Anthony. You got us?
Gotcha.
I mean, that was a wild start to this race. You went 4 wide with yourself, Bronson, Matt, and Spencer. How was it from your point of view?
Well, to be honest, I didn't even know Spencer got the launch that he did. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't. I would have thought twice about making the move up the middle that I did. But I mean, that was just a heroic launch that he got, and I was already committed to sticking it between Bronson and I think it was Matt that was there, the Renault there. So I was already committed to the gap, and then all of a sudden I felt a huge I just slammed into the side of Spencer. I had no idea he was there. I wasn't even watching for him to get that launch. So it was. I'm glad we got out of it okay. It was a little sketchy in the braking down into 1, so I went a little bit wide to leave him space, but we came through okay. So that was good. But yeah, it was a wild start.
Yeah, I mean, a bold move on your part there at the end, going with the 1 stop compared to everyone else that went for the 2 or even a 3 stopper. How was that mindset for you, trying something so different?
Well, for starters, I knew the 1 stop was the play, and if it beat everybody but Bronson Stafford. So I mean, I think that just proves that was the strategy. I was. The final 5 laps, I was fighting a little bit of grip there, grip loss at the end. So I was the car felt really light under braking and corner exit. So there wasn't a lot of life left in the tires there. But yeah, I was happy with the strategy. I made a mistake early into that stint too. I was pushing to try to keep the gap down between me and Bronson, because I knew that's all I needed to really do was keep it down to give myself a shot at giving him a fight, because I knew he had to come in for soft. So I was pushing there, and I smacked the wall with my wing, and I was racing the last 25 laps with half a wing there. So it really only affected me in the final corner. But as I'm sure you saw, as soon as Bronson caught me on the softs in that final corner, he just had so much more speed than I did, because I just couldn't get the car to turn through there because I was racing with half a wing. So I'm happy with the strategy. That was the play. And any other day, any other league, that would have put me on the top step of the podium. But we've got Bronson Stafford in our league, so I'm gonna have to settle for second once again.
Second place finish might not seem the greatest, but considering that Ferrari is still within a shot for the Constructors' Championship, given that you got a second place finish and your teammate, I believe, got a 5th place finish tonight, you've put yourself in a pretty good position for Ferrari going forward to maybe challenge the AlphaTauri team for a title run at the Constructors' Championship, and certainly going in the last 4 races. What is your goal for the next 4 races going in? Because we've got 4 very different tracks. You got Suzuka next, and then you've got the USA, which is at COTA, which a lot of drivers, it's a love-hate relationship between COTA. Then Abu Dhabi, which is another love-hate relationship between that track, and then the much-loved Sao Paulo circuit. What are you looking forward there?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the game plan, it's just going to be another deal like today, where we finish better than the AlphaTauris and as a whole. So Bronson obviously was the race winner, but then you've got myself in second and Justin in 5th. So total of point accumulate. Actually, he might have scored a little bit more points than we did today. Yeah, it'll be close. We need to tighten up that position gap. Maybe a lot more 2-3 or 3-4 finishes. heck, a 1-2 would be fantastic. One of these races, but just trying to be realistic. We need to finish nose to tail for a majority of these remaining races. I like our shots going through these next few tracks. I cannot stand Japan. I think it's an awful track. It's right up there with the Charlotte Roval for me. But that's a very unpopular opinion, so I try to keep that one to myself. But I can't stand Japan. But Austin, Abu Dhabi, and Brazil. I really like Brazil, and Austin and Abu Dhabi are kind of but they do provide some good racing, and they can be fun to rip around on. So I'm confident in myself and JD that we'll get the job done. We're certainly going to make it a battle. We closed it in today, and it's going to be fun.
One thing before Matt finishes out, I've also always been more. I've always been more of the fact that I like Fuji more than Suzuka, so I agree with you.
Yes.
I agree with you on the Suzuka thing.
Bring back Fuji.
Well, Logan, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, first and foremost, I tried to ping you guys before the interview started. It was my bad being a little bit late, but congrats to Bronson. He does clinch the Drivers' Championship with that win. So that was another incentive for me to win. I wanted to delay that as long as possible. But I think that's tied for the earliest clinch in 11 seasons of Slipstream racing. So there's one record he didn't break. He wasn't the earliest to clinch, but congratulations to him for clinching the Drivers' Championship. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting. My mom for watching, and all the guys for showing up. A lot of guys showing up in heaps these last few weeks, and it's been fun to see who's going to get the unfortunate be stuck in the unfortunate situation of not getting points. So thanks to the guys for showing up. It gives me confidence for doing this again for a 12th season, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thanks for everything.
That's going to be Logan Breaky in the Ferrari, and hopefully next week at Japan, you guys in Ferrari can continue your ways and try to make this constructors battle a little bit more closer. Hopefully we'll be talking to you next week there, Logan.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
And just like Logan said, Bronson Stafford officially has clinched the championship. The championship for these drivers has been wild. To now, there was a Slipstream originally was an Xbox, and Bronson won a championship there. Now here on the computer side of things, Bronson becomes a two-time winner here in the championship for Slipstream. Bronson had Sam and Anthony up in the booth. How is this feeling for you?
This feels great. I don't know. I'm so happy, man. I love F1. I love Singapore. I'm so glad that of all the tracks to clinch a title, it's at Singapore. And man, it feels great. It feels so good, and it's been such a fun season. Even with the outright dominance, I've still had a lot of fun racing people when I've had to race them, and it just shows everyone knows what they're doing so well, and it's just a blast, man. It feels so great.
11 wins so far this season. It's not even over yet. You're trying to go for the sweep of winning every single race, but here today, the start of this race was a little shaky because we didn't know if everyone was going to survive. How is that from your point of view with the 4 wide racing at the start?
Yeah, I messed up the start bad. I got a great initial launch. I got to second gear and I lost all traction. I fell to 5th, and it was wild in front of me, 2-3 wide constantly, and everyone was everywhere. It was so close, and JD knocked the wing and had to pit. I got by him from that, and then Spencer, I got past after the virtual safety car. I got past Dyer kind of when he pit. I kind of got really lucky with them pitting when they did or whatnot. But yeah, at the start of the race, that was crazy. I did an awful job at heating my tires up on a formation lap, and it really showed.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
I mean, Bronson, this is probably one of the more unique ways that you had to win a race. You went with the stops at the end, switching to the softs at the very end. Was that your goal at the start, or did you just recognize, hey, I need to do something different than what we've been seeing the Ferrari do?
I loaded out with the medium soft strat. It was only saying about 2 or 3 seconds slower than medium to hard. I just kind of hoped that maybe like raw pace would kind of overcome that, and I mean, evidently it did. But it definitely, I was worried the first stint when Breaky had a 6-second lead. I was like, if he goes on to hards, if we put it the same lap, he goes hards and I go mediums, it could get really close, and that's literally exactly what happened. But I was on him instead of 6 seconds behind, and I think that made a huge difference for being able to get the second pit stop and coming out right behind them in DRS and just ahead of Dyer, which sucks for Dyer. He actually would have been ahead of me, but my teammate pit on the same lap and held him up, and it's always something with Matt. And then I think he got the wall or something, but that would have been a really fun three-way battle for at least a couple laps, I think.
Yeah, there was a lot of battling going on the racetrack all night long. You were included in a lot of those battles. At the start of the race, a four-way battle going into turn one, which again was probably the craziest moment of the night. And then finding your way through the field to get to the lead of the race. You didn't lead until halfway through the race, which I thought was kind of surprising considering the way the season has gone. But standing here a champion here at Singapore, the fireworks going off, it was something spectacular up in the booth to watch as you came across the start finish line. We didn't know that you were the champion until just a few moments ago when it was confirmed that you are the champion, but we have a few more races left, and I mean, this is a typical thing in Formula One where you claim a champion and then we have some more racing to go. The rest of the season, your goal, is it to get more wins, go for the season sweep? And do you think that AlphaTauri as a whole can take the constructors as well and get a season sweep as far as all the championships?
That's the goal. Constructors is definitely the goal now. I gonna see if we can't get Shane a little bit quicker. I know he had some issues tonight. He had good pace in practice, and I think he just kind of missed it in qualifying a little bit. And obviously this is a tough track, and it's his first time racing here. It's his first F1 game and first time racing at a track like Singapore. Not an easy track to come to for the first time. So, 8th place or 9th place is solid enough with the win in fastest lap that we got. So I think we got 29 points total. I'm not sure where JD ended up finishing, so I know for sure we lost a couple points, but that's fine. We go into 4 races left. I think we still have a small points gap, hopefully, I think, and it'll really just be close to the end of it. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Bronson, congratulations again with being now a 2-time champion here in the Slipstream series, and now the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, definitely. You guys every week. It's been a blast rewatching these races. I'm excited for this one, and guys at Luminary and Shane being my teammate in this series, and Breaky and JD putting this on. It's been a lot of fun for another season, and I hope it makes a return and we can open it up, get more members, anything like that. Just anything for fun. It's a blast racing with these guys here, honestly.
Well, that's Bronson Stafford getting another win, number 11 of the season here, and racking up the Drivers' Championship. Congratulations on the win here tonight, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week.
Thanks, Sam.
Anthony, AlphaTauri has now the Drivers' Championship. Now the mark is between Ferrari and AlphaTauri for the constructors. It's going to be a dogfight between those two teams here for the final 4 races.
It is, and it's going to be an intense final 4 races next week. We've got Suzuka, which heard from a couple of drivers already is a bit of a love-hate relationship with that racetrack. It's not one of the more fluid tracks. I got to say, Suzuka is it's difficult to drive, but once you figure it out, it can be really fun. I am more partial to Fuji, as I said. I really like Fuji, but Suzuka, again, a track that these drivers are going to have to overcome going forward, and it's going to be a make-or-break race, I think, for the Constructors' Championship, because the rest of the season going to Austin, then Abu Dhabi, those tracks are similar in the sense that there's plenty of runoffs that you can go off in case that you need to, and the track is wide. Suzuka, not that case. We have the first turn, which is a very, very tough turn 1 and 2, as you basically go through turn 1 at full speed and then have to hit the brakes for turn 2, and that whole complex is really tough. And then the S's that follow that, you have the crossover where the bridge is, and then the hairpin after that, and then very high speed turn at the end of the straight. That's, I keep saying it, but Suzuka might be one of the make or break races for this Constructors' Championship going forward. Sam, what are your opinions? What do you think these drivers are going to have to do once we get to the final 4 races?
I mean, right now, Ferrari is that's on their mind is they have to both finish in the podium. They have to get a 2-3 finish here for at least 2 out of the 4 races, and one of them has to be getting a second place finish every single week if they want this constructors race. We know Bronson Stafford's aiming for the win, and he's looked like he's going to win every single race so far. One slip up from him could really open up the gap and honestly allow Ferrari to come back into the points. Like we said before this race, it was a 31-point gap, and it might be less than 30 points going into next week. It's going to be very close racing for sure. But like we said, we're going to Japan next week. And Anthony, thank you again for joining me in the booth here at Singapore, where we finally get to crown our champion.
Yeah, it was a long time coming. We kind of knew who the champion was going to be around race 9. At that point, it was pretty much locked up, but now we actually get to claim him. And congratulations to Bronson Stafford for winning the Drivers' Championship in Season 10 of Slipstream. I believe the Season 11 of Slipstream, I should say, is congratulations on the season. A 11th victory tonight in Season 11, and how fitting that he gets the championship locked up on race 11 of Season 11. So, and at Singapore, this has really been a fantastic year for Bronson Stafford. But don't go anywhere. We still got a long way to go. The championship for the constructors still hot. And Sam, thank you for coming along with me. It's really something that you get to put up with me for an entire race, and that's struggling in of itself.
Oh man, it's been a blast all season long, and like we said, 4 more races left here in Slipstream F1 Championship. We're excited to see who will win the constructors. We know who won the drivers' championship. That's Bronson Stafford, a part of AlphaTauri, as now they're both Shane and Bronson trying to beat out the Ferrari crew of Logan Brakey and JD. Well, that's it here at Singapore, but more racing action throughout the week, as tomorrow night it's going to be starting off the G-Force ARCA Series at Nashville. That's going to be race number 1 of the ARCA Series. Then on Wednesday night, we've got the RTG Aero 88 Series, as well as the SARG Super Speedway Series at Talladega for their 7th race. SARG inching closer and closer to the playoffs, as well as RTG. They're coming to the end of their season. It's November. It's the end of seasons for a lot of racing here on the Flatout Racing Network for a lot of leagues, and you do not want to miss any of it. Subscribe to our YouTube page, as well as follow and like on Facebook for more racing action. But for myself, Sam Dyer, and for Anthony McCurry, here tonight at Singapore, we crowned a champion for the drivers. That is going to be Bronson Stafford for AlphaTauri. And here at Singapore, winning his 11th race of the season, trying to win all 15 of them. Thank you again for watching another presentation of the Flatout Racing Network. We'll see you next week at Japan.